but she proves herself time and time again. So to keep it simple, I love to hate her. You know.
Okay. All right,
really
Bill.
do.
All right, Bill in L.A. Bully.
One of the terms that I absolutely despise in pro wrestling is love to hate. That's the biggest oxymoron that there is to me. Love to hate. If you love to hate somebody, you actually love them. Because you're loving the character that they are portraying. And that character is portraying a bad guy. Where does the character end and the real person begin with MJF?
There is not. The person you see in the ring is the person you see outside the ring.
Where does the character end and the person begin with Eddie Kingston?
It's the same guy on camera, off camera.
Now, I know MJF and Eddie Kingston aren't exactly knocking the ratings dead, because I know that'll be somebody. I'm going to put these two guys over, and some douche nozzle is going to be like, yeah, well, AEW's ratings suck lately. It's not my point here. My point is, when you watch these guys, you are bought in. You believe. I made a phone call yesterday. And you know, I don't talk about myself unless I can relate it to the subject. Me and Heyman had a conversation yesterday because Paul said something very nice about us on an interview with Ariel Helwani. I think I'm getting his name right. Ariel Helwani? Yes?
Ariel Helwani. Yep.
So Helwani asked Paul best promo outside of his that he ever saw. And Heyman put over the Dudleys for being able to do what we did. ECW fans were the smartest wrestling fans that ever existed. They were hip. They knew what was going on. They were in on the work, the kayfabe, yada, yada. They were so smart. Until me and Devon got out there. Until people started jumping the rails on a nightly basis and riots happened on a nightly basis and the cops had to be called in and the dogs had to be called in and we got arrested and spent nights in jail because we would beat fans up, jump guardrails and just beat the shit out of people. There was believability. We were able to make the smartest fans in the world forget that what they were seeing was a show. Brought them to a level of anger where people would jump out of the balcony of the Elks Lodge in Queens, New York to hit the ring on us. Where did the character end and the person begin? Nobody ever knew. And some to this day still don't know. My point is, you did not love to hate the act of the Dudleys. You hated the Dudleys. You hated the Dudleys so much that no matter who came through that curtain, all you wanted to see them do was punch Bubba and Devon in the face, kick them in the balls, crank them over the head with a steel chair, put them through their own tables, yada, yada. There was no smiles on people's faces. There was no, like we see with MJF. Oh my God, here comes MJF. Oh, this is going to be the best promo. I love MJF. I hate him so much. What? As great as MJF is at what he does, there's a next level of hatred to get to. That Sith level of hatred. I always bring up the Emperor in Star Wars. What was the Emperor's redeeming qualities?
You're asking me?
Yeah. To your knowledge, what was the redeeming quality of the Emperor?
There wasn't any.
Anything. There was no reason for you to like the Emperor. None. Zero.
Let the hate flow through you.
Perfect. Vader had redeeming qualities. After a while, you grew to love Vader because you realized what his story was. And now you understood why you hated Vader, and now you wanted to love him, not the Emperor. And it takes an emperor in pro wrestling to command hatred. That's why a lot of people, there are few and far between who understand this level of hatred when it comes to a heel in pro wrestling. The level of hatred guys like the Sheik, the original Sheik, or Freddie Blassie had, and I'm sure a lot of older wrestling fans that are listening. Roddy Piper. Did you love to hate Roddy Piper? I detested Roddy Piper for the things he said to Salvatore Bellomo in New Jersey. I detested Roddy Piper for cranking that coconut over Snooker's head. I detested Roddy Piper for talking down to Jimmy Snuka because he couldn't speak well. I never loved him. I wanted to see Piper get his ass handed to him. And I guess somehow this will morph into our next conversation about, the jumping the rails. But I just hope wrestling fans understand the importance of the bad guy, the heel, and not the bad boy. I don't give a shit about the bad boy because the bad boy was always too cool. I'm talking about the bad guy. And this is where I also feel like the NWO to an extent hurt things. Because once the NWO became the cool heels, what did everybody want to do, Dave?
Yeah, they all wanted to love the NWO. They wanted to be the NWO. The NWO shirts were the biggest selling shirts at the time. It kind of started with the Four Horsemen. You started seeing, like, right after the stuff with Dusty, you started seeing the Four Horsemen start to get cheered and start to be like, because it was hard not to. They were all champions. They made a promise. They fulfilled their promise, and they won their matches. It was right after the feud with Dusty where that started to change. But the NWO, why would you hate the NWO? All they did was win.
Dave, when I would go to the ring, if I saw people with my T-shirt on, I'd be so hard on myself. This is when I was a heel, because I'm like, man, if that person plunked down $30 for my T-shirt, I must not be getting the job done. That person likes me too much. And if that person likes me, that means they don't love the guy standing across from me. That's just the way I thought about it. I'm not saying that the way other wrestlers think about it is wrong or the way fans think about it is wrong. I understand that people love to hate bad guys. I get it. It's just not something that I was ever able to wrap my brain around or ever wanted to do. My version of the bad guy, the heel, was absolutely so bad that you wanted to throw bricks through their window, slash their tires, and want to do what that guy did to Seth Rollins last night. Because what that guy did to Seth Rollins last night, to me, is absolute gold.
Bully, I was going through some of my old pro wrestling programs. Like, I was looking through one from like 84. And I was looking at like the merchandise section in the program where, you could buy the posters and the T-shirts. The posters and the T-shirts, Hogan, Snuka, Backlund, Junkyard Dog. You couldn't buy a T-shirt or a poster of Greg the Hammer Valentine or Rowdy Roddy Piper or anything like that. You know why? Because nobody would buy them. Nobody was gonna buy a T-shirt or a poster of the Wild Samoans because you hated them. You were gonna buy the Snuka or the Hogan or the Junkyard Dog. Now you can buy a T-shirt of everybody. Well, I mean, the companies aren't buying it either. Case in point, Becky's promo from last night. She's making Liv Morgan cry. She's being a bully to Liv Morgan, but in the same sentence, she's talking about how she poses with kids and she lets the kids hold her championship title. Would superstar Billy Graham ever pose with a kid and let the kid hold his WWF championship? Are you fucking crazy?
Oh, well, it's a different time, Dave. I hate that one, too.
No, Bully, if MJF was to become AEW champion, would he be posing with kids and let kids hold his AEW chip? Fuck no.
Nobody does a better job of connecting the dots in this entire business than MJF. Nobody. And it's amazing that someone with the level of intellect as an MJF could have come out of that man and woman.
It's true. He's so hated. His parents, his mother and father despise him. Think about that for a second.
I despise his mother and father.
Well, you're a bully too. But that's what you want. My God, bully, it's what you're saying right now. You would get pissed if somebody was paid $30 for your t-shirt. They're buying your t-shirt. No, you're fucking pissed because you don't want anybody to like you enough that they're going to put $30 down on your t-shirt. Jericho would say when he was a heel, he told them, don't sell my shirts. Do not sell my shirts. If he was in an elevator, he said the story on our show and in his book. He was on an elevator with a father and son. The kid turned around. Mr. Jericho, can I get your autograph? He didn't look the kid in his face. He looked straight ahead. And when those elevator doors opened, the father turned around and said, you're an asshole. That's what you want. Do you understand? I don't give a shit about time. These are not characters. These are not roles. If you want true emotional investment, every heel should act like MJF. Every heel's goal should be, I want to be despised. I want to be hated. I want people to slash my tires and spit in my face when they see me. That should be everyone's goal as a heel.
Jump the guardrail. Seth Rollins pissed off a fan last night so much that fan decided to jump the guardrail and spear Rollins and take shots at him. You don't think that person, now, unless that person might be a little bit mentally lacking or didn't have all his wits about him, or maybe he was so drunk, yada, yada. But you don't think that person who jumped the rail last night knows in that jumping the rail, there's going to be serious repercussions. He could have had the shit beat out of him. He could have spent the night in jail. There could be charges brought up against him. He could get sued. 1,000,001 things could have went wrong for that guy who jumped the rail, right?
Yep.
But he forgot all about them because the hatred that he had welled up inside him for Seth Rollins, for doing what he did to Finn Balor, made him throw all that shit out the window and said, fuck you, Seth, I'm coming for you. That's heat. When you can make them forget that what they're seeing is not really what they're seeing. The elephant really doesn't disappear. But the best magicians in the world make you think the elephant disappears. And you know what you do, Dave? You stand on your feet and you give that magician a standing ovation. You fools. And then you pay money to go see that magician again. Boy, talk about a work of all works. That's the beauty of pro wrestling, when you can make them forget. That's why when I see what happened last night with Rollins, I'm filled with joy. Am I encouraging people to jump rails, yada, yada? No. But I get it. And if you can elicit that much emotion and hatred in somebody that they're willing to throw their own well-being out the door just so they get a little piece of you, you must have done something right. And Seth Rollins did something right last night. He got heat. He got old school heat. And I'm sure that there's people out there, veterans or young boys, like, oh, that's not real heat, or that's so wrong, or that fan should, oh, shut up. As a heel, you beg for that kind of heat. What was your opinion on the whole situation?
Well, you know what, Bully? Look at Seth and what he did when that happened. Okay, when that happened, what did he immediately do when security jumped on that guy? He was in that guy's face. He was standing, yelling at that. He didn't back off. He didn't run off. He didn't do anything like that. He stayed in character. He bought completely into what just took place then.
Seth Rollins displayed the utmost professionalism last night. because the instinct is to get up and start kicking that fan in the face. Bravo to Seth Rollins for being a consummate professional who was able to control himself in a moment in time that is absolutely almost impossible to control yourself unless you're trying to elicit that response. Unless you're trying to get somebody to jump the rail, then you know you want to fire back. Seth didn't see that one coming. Great job by security to just get the guy down and get him out. People chiming in on social media, oh, Rollins is a punk for not beating the shit out of him. No, he's not. He's a pro. You can't fire back because then they sue you. Then they sue the company. Then they sue the arena. Then they just get sue happy. And then the jury looks at you like, well, Seth, you did get away from the guy. Did you really have to go back and punt him in the face? Yeah, but the guy jumped me. Yes, we understand the guy jumped you. And that's what arena security is there for. And that's what WWE security is there for. It's their job to control the guy and get him out of there. Not your job to kick him in the face after you got away. That's why you don't do that. Seth saved the company a lot of headaches last night. Most guys wouldn't have that kind of self-control. I've seen it 100 times. The boys just salivating to get that one shot in. What happened when that fan jumped Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame ceremony?
FDR was out there. They beat the shit out of the guy.
Dude, the boy, you don't understand. When situations like that happened, it's like the lion's cage when some moronic person that comes to the zoo wants to lean too far over the rail and then falls in. And the lion goes, okay, now you see what you're going to get. That's what the boys are when somebody does something stupid like that. So, I mean, am I saying what FTR did to the fan? And no, man, it's Bret Hart. Somebody came after Bret Hart. Boom, done. See you. Bye.
Well, because you have to have those boundaries. You have to make sure that people know not to cross that boundary. It happened in the world of the NFL. There's people love to look at the footage of a fan running onto the field and Dick Buck is just fucking laying the guy out. Boy, people love looking at that footage. But you know what? If that happened today, oh my God, did he have to do that? He injured that person? Well, yeah, because that person had no right to run onto that field. Nobody thinks of that. Nobody thinks of that. Because once you let that happen, then everybody thinks it's okay to do that. No, there needs to be fucking ramifications for doing something like that. You're a fucking moron. There's a world-class athlete in the ring, and you're running into the ring to get your fucking face on TV? Well, then you need to get laid fucking out. I'm sorry. That's just, you have no fucking common sense. That person, now it's different. If he's mentally ill or something like that, then you get to grab the guy, get him. But how do you know that guy doesn't have a knife? How do you know that guy doesn't have a gun? How do you know that guy doesn't have the intent to hurt that person? He may be going out there to show his face on TV, or maybe he's got a fucking issue and he's going out there to hurt Seth Rollins.
Especially
Seth Rollins,
in today's
first thing should be, I'm laying this fucking guy out. I'm laying this fucking guy out so I make sure he doesn't hurt me or somebody else.
Dude, it's a fight or flight reaction. It's instinctual. Try controlling that instinct to not fight back. It's very difficult. But that's what you kind of have to do, especially in the world of WWE, corporate trade. And they have actually, if I remember correctly from my days there, we were actually told if this happens, you have to back off. Let the referee get him down. Let security take him out. There are people hired for that specific incident.
That's hard to do.
It is. That's why I applaud Rollins for his self-control. I applaud Seth Rollins for two reasons this morning. His ability to elicit such hatred in somebody that they jump the rail at the Barclays Center to spear him, and for his self-control of not retaliating. And I put out the question on social media today, have you ever been to a show where somebody has jumped the rail?
I was. Not, actually pretty recent, too. New York,
Which show was
Madison
that?
Square Garden.
Who is a fan?
You need security, security.
Who the fuck is this? That's a fan. What the fuck is you doing, boy?
Come on, boy.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, bitch. You want to blindside me, motherfucker?
What the fuck is going on, bro? Bro, what the fuck? Yo, what the fuck? Bro, what the fuck?